Welcome to the Bullyball podcast, where we talk 49er football and pretty much anything NFL. We have co-host Alex and Joseph here. We decided to go live this morning because we like to talk to you guys. Drop a comment if you're in here. Let us know if you want to talk. Uh, Leave some comments, questions, anything. Good morning. How's it going over in Spain?
It's going good. It's going good. Um, pretty good week for the Niners, I would say. Picked up somebody I know that we both like. Um, Overall, been a good week. How's it going over there?
It's going good. We got some good weather out in Florida this week. Little chilly today, which is nice because it's been very hot. But yeah, we made some good moves this week. Some underrated stuff, really. Nothing crazy, but we got some stuff to talk about. We're in a little bit of a dry period before the NFL draft, but we'll dive right in. Talk free agent pickups, who's left on the market. Um, we'll do our annual or our weekly mock draft. And we have some pro day summaries of where the 49ers have been the past couple weeks. So let's dive right in with our weekly news. What do you got for us?
All right, weekly roundup. I think one of the biggest things kick it off. 49ers signed Carrie Heider, former 49er, played for the Seahawks last year. In 2020, played for the 49ers, had 8.5 sacks, I believe. And they signed him to a $1.5 million deal for 1 year. 750,000 of it's guaranteed right now. And then if he hits a certain sack number, he'll get the other 750,000. So that's a great deal in my opinion. A lot of upside in that deal, If he can play like he did with the Niners and not like he did with the Seahawks, and there's reasons behind that we'll get into a little bit later, I think that could be a great signing. What are your
Yep, love
thoughts?
it. I love the signing. It factors into the compensation pick formula as well. So if the 49ers lose Arden Key, I believe I was seeing that they'd get a 6th-round comp pick next year for him. And Carrie Heider, since he was cut and not just a free agent, he doesn't factor into that. So with compensation picks, if you lose a player in free agency, but then you pick someone up in free agency, it's kind of like a wash rule. So say when we lost Laken Tomlinson, we were going to get a 3rd-round pick for that. But then when you sign Charvarius Ward, it just washes that pick away. So I think that's another underrated part of this signing that makes it great.
Yep, I agree. Um, Another thing, the Broncos signed nickel corner K'Wan Williams to a 2-year deal. It is a max value of $7 million. We kind of touched on K'Wan Williams earlier in the offseason, and I felt like we both agreed that the 49ers should have let him go. I think letting him go was a smart move because while he was a great player in the box, at blitzing or anything like that, making those tackles inside the box, his coverage was getting tested this year. Cooper Kupp burning him a lot, but obviously Cooper Kupp burns a lot of people. But even other players, if they were testing K'Wan Williams vertically, he was getting burnt. So I think it's valid that he walks, making about what 3.5 mil a year for these next 2 years. So I'm not like stressed about losing K1.
I agree. If they would have re-signed him, I would have said all right, but we did say we would like to get better there.
Yeah.
Still to come what they're going to do to get better at the nickel spot, but there's a lot of great nickel players in the draft. There's still some on the free agent market, so and they could look internally. So we'll see
Yeah.
how that goes. Glad the guy got paid though. Probably his last decent contract, so good
Yeah.
for him to go get some money.
He played great for us too. When we brought him in from the Browns, he was a great nickel corner for us for the past. I think he played on the Niners for 5 years. So I would say
Yeah.
about the last 4.5 out of those 5 years, it was like top-notch nickel corner ball. Very underrated in my opinion. But towards the end, this last year, I think his age kind of caught up to him with his speed vertically and everything like that. And of course, Jimmy Garoppolo is still a 49er, which I don't think is going to take a change anytime soon. What are your thoughts?
As we said a couple weeks ago, when the dominoes started falling, it was always, oh, he's next. Oh, he's next. As the quarterback started dropping off the market, he kept being the next guy, you know what I mean? And then more people started coming on the market. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, then Matt Ryan, So he was always the next guy. The shoulder surgery, people were saying, oh, he didn't get signed because of shoulder surgery. He didn't get it traded, but his contract is huge. He's coming off surgery now as well. And his performance, he relies on the team a lot more than a lot of these quarterbacks. Who would you rather have, Matt Ryan or Jimmy G? And I don't think Matt Ryan's great anymore. I just think he can
Me
at least
neither.
push the ball more than Jimmy
Yeah.
G.
I guess for
Um,
me, it would depend on the contract. Like how much money is Matt Ryan making? Because I think he's making north of 25 mil. I think the
I think
last thing I saw was like
his cap
40.
hit's like 40, but I think the Falcons are paying that to have him
Yeah,
off
they
the
are. They
team.
ate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
So
insane.
it is insane. But
Um,
they would rather do that than,
yeah.
take Jimmy G. Um, so I think, it's a lot of things. It's not just one thing. I also think the 49ers might be asking for too much. Why? I honestly think that rumor of, oh, we have an offer for 2 first-round picks is not true. I don't think Lynch said that, but I do think they were asking for too much for Jimmy. And of course, you're going to look elsewhere. You get Matt Ryan for, was it a third?
Mm-hmm.
Carson
One
Wentz for
third.
a second and a third, that's too much as well. Mariota signed a like $10 million deal.
I think
Jameis
it was like 2 years,
Winston,
14 mil, I
yeah,
believe.
Jameis Winston 2 years, 10 million a year. Like, you're getting similar, if not better production from dudes on way cheaper contracts, and you have less of a commitment because if you're trading for Jimmy, you're giving up that first round, or I mean, you're getting 1 year of him for 25 mil, and you're giving up draft compensation. Nobody wants to do that right now.
Um, I think as well, Matt Mayoko was kind of talking about it on his podcast that he has. Matt Mayoko's a 49ers insider. He was saying like there's really no point now to cut him at this moment. Why not let him get healthy and then release him if there's not a trade market at that time? Because you cut him now, you're on the hook for $7.5 million for that injury guarantee unless he gets paid by another team. But I don't think another team would pay him right now anyways. So you are saving like that 18 million, but you might as well just, because what free agents are you going to get right now? Bobby Wagner? Like, sure, Bobby Wagner is legit. He's a beast, but our linebackers are stacked right now with what we have.
Tyrann
Um,
Mathieu.
Tyrann Mathieu's there. He's still actually kind of young. He's like 29, which is surprising. I feel like he's been in the league for forever. Um, Tyrann Mathieu, but who knows? Maybe the 49ers don't believe in Tyrann Mathieu. I don't think they do because obviously want to run it with one of Odom, Hufanga, or Tavarius Moore. I think they would address the safety position earlier if they were going to do it. Um, There are some corners, like probably some nickel corners, like the Casey Hayward. I know that people are talking about that you'll probably need to bring in, but you can do a couple restructures to create that cap space, Um, yeah, so I think the best bet right now would probably be just to keep him until he's healthy and then cut bait with him then. What do you think?
I could go either way with it. I am personally one that would like him off the team. I feel like it's a distraction to Trey and all the other players that he still is on the team. And there is an opportunity for him to stay on the team next season. If he's gone, he's gone. Right now, he could stay on the team. You know what I mean? Something could happen. Oh, Jimmy's starting again. Trey gets, pray nothing happens, but say he gets injured in training camp or something. Who you're keeping Jimmy then, right?
Wouldn't you want to
Possible.
though? Would you not think that's a good idea?
I don't know. I'm just saying. If it's his team and then Jimmy comes back another year, then how does that make your franchise quarterback feel?
Yeah, I
There's
agree. I
just
think it is. From that point of view, I think like the distraction is big. It takes away from Trey Lance instead of knowing like, okay, this is my team. But who knows? Maybe behind the scenes, the coaches and everything are reassuring him like, this is your team, this is your team, this is your team. Don't worry about him. He's gonna be gone. Training camp comes around. Um, but who knows? I don't think anything's gonna happen with Jimmy G anytime soon, anyways.
yeah, I think the next time we might see some traction would be maybe during the draft. Um Still probably not then. It's probably like you said going to be near training camp. But if we do start hearing rumblings next, it's probably going to be in the draft in a month. So he's going to be here a
Let me
while.
let me ask you this: would you, let's say they can't find a trade partner or anything, and they reach out to Jimmy G first? They'll be like, "We'll keep you on the team, but you have to restructure your contract to about, I don't know, 5 to 10 million a year," which obviously he would never do because there's no reason to take a 20 mil cap hit, like a 20 million less. Um, but let's say he was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Would you want him back for that? Or would you
No,
still say to let him go? And
I,
why?
s- I still would let him go. Like we said, that it's more about the dynamic in the locker room at this point. The 49ers players have always spoken highly of Jimmy. So then you keep him on the team and now he's a backup to Trey. What if Trey has a bad week? The fans, you know how the fans are. We turn on people pretty fast. And it could be people wanting Jimmy G back in. And think about the locker room because they love Jimmy. They might not be sold on Trey yet, but we know they love Jimmy. So Trey comes out, has a bad week. How's the locker room going to act? You're creating a dynamic that you don't even want to see or have the opportunity to see. I think he needs to be gone one way or another.
Yep. Sounds good. Let's take a dive into your um free agency tracker. See what we got
All right,
going
my
on that one.
spreadsheet. Let me pull it up.
Do you have any
Um,
other news that you want to cover that I missed?
no, but we do have the pro day. I have screenshots on my phone of which pro days the 49ers have been at. And we'll all speak on like which campuses they were at. But I'll just start by saying they were at a bunch. So if you think you're gonna get some hints on like, oh, they're looking at this guy, you're not gonna get that. So just be
While
aware.
he's pulling that up, there's this tweet that John Chapman put out talking about the 49ers core. He says the 49ers core is young. If Trey Lance hits, the 49ers will be a force for a while. Trey Lance, 21 years old. Ambry Thomas, 22. Talanoa Hufanga, 23. Eli Mitchell, 23. Ayuk, 24. Bosa, 24. Kinlaw, 24. Aziz, 24. Juwan Jennings, 24. Greenlaw, 24. Fred Warner, 25. Travarius Ward, 25. Emmanuel Mosley, 26. Debo, 26. That is an extremely young core of players, and those are just like the main contributors from last season. Not even naming like the Aaron Banks, Kittle's obviously there, but he's a little bit older. He's 28, I think, so he's up there in age. But that just goes to show, the future's bright. If Trey Lance can hit, the 49ers will be good for a long time if they can retain most of these players.
And I think that's also a thing that us as 49er fans forget is if you have a franchise quarterback, it can cover a lot of holes on the team. We've had to have a complete roster for a very long time, probably since we started watching football, if we wanted to make the playoffs, to be honest with you. But think of these teams like Tom Brady. I know he's the GOAT, but he's carried subpar teams to the Super Bowl. Aaron Rodgers, he's carried teams to the playoffs. Pat Mahomes, these type of guys, they can carry a roster that isn't completely complete to the playoffs. So if you have a franchise QB, you can kind of get away with some things that you couldn't otherwise. So that's something to just be aware of if he does, in fact, hit.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so we have our updated 90-man depth chart. I believe we have 63. We have 64 people on the roster right now, but Alfredo Gutierrez is an exemption. So 63 of the 90 slots filled for the offseason. In yellow, you're going to see all the people that were signed this offseason. And I did kind of fill out the starting slots of who I project that's on the roster at the moment to start. I updated that. So Brunskill hasn't been signed yet, but he is on the tender, so he's more than likely going to be back. So this is what your starting offense will look like right here. It's going to be Trey Lance over Jimmy, but this is just how it is right now. Jeff Wilson brought back on a 1-year deal. How do you feel about that one? It's an interesting signing to me.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it because Jeff Wilson did get a decent amount of playing time when Eli Mitchell got hurt, and he didn't really do much. He didn't make a difference. He didn't look like that Jeff Wilson in 2019, caught that game-winning touchdown against the Cardinals at the end of the game. That Jeff Wilson that would like run people over. This Jeff Wilson that came back this year, I didn't see a lot of vision from him. I felt like he would just put his head down and kind of just barrel into players. He just didn't really make an impact, and I would rather have Trey Sermon as that RB2 than Jeff Wilson because Trey Sermon can probably do what Jeff Wilson did and maybe more. Sermon I think can catch the ball pretty well if I remember correctly.
Yes,
I'm sure he could block somewhat
can.
because he's a bigger back. So what's the point of bringing back Jeff Wilson? I don't really understand it.
I agree. He did get a lot of playing time, like you said, and then once everyone was healthy again, he never saw the field. So
Mm-hmm.
just kind of interesting. We did say we'd like to see another back brought in to compete with Hasty to take that third down role. But I think Jeff Wilson and Hasty could not be on the roster. So I don't understand the signing as well. But maybe it's a special teams thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Rest of your offense is the same. All these people we talked about last week. On defense.
Real quick before we go to defense, uh, It seems like a lot of Steelers fans are down on Ray McCloud. Looking through Twitter and Instagram when they post like the farewell posts, all their fans. I mean, it is fans, of course, so they're going to be biased, but they're like, "Oh, good riddance." Like, thank God he's gone. He didn't really like do much. Some people were even saying that he was too involved in their offense. So that's
Interesting.
something to keep our eye on.
He
Very
is
curious to
he
see
is
how they are going to use him this year.
he is very fumble prone. And
Yeah.
on our team, if you fumble, you're not getting back on the field. Shanahan
Yeah.
does not put you on the field. So I think he had like 9 fumbles in the past year or two, that's bad. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that one goes. But yeah, when you bring in a free agent, you like to see the other team's fans come on and say, "Man, why'd they let him go? He was great for us." And yeah, they were not feeling him coming back.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting one. All right, so let's hop over to the defense. Oh, didn't yellow this one out. The big signing this week, as we mentioned, was Carrie Heider, brought back on a 1-year cheap deal. Um, Probably pretty close to the vet minimum, I would assume. Other than that, we brought back Dante Johnson on a 1-year
Great
deal,
signing.
and we brought back Darquise Denard on a 1-year deal. So let's start with Carrie Heider. How do you feel about that one?
Like we said earlier in the podcast, it's a great signing. That rotation for the D line it's just taking shape. It's looking really good. If you can have D Ford come back this year and just play, just be on the field, just play. You have D Ford, Ebukam, Bosa, Hyder, Omenihu, Willis. Like at the end, that's solid, super solid, and you can keep them all really fresh. Um, Hyder, like we said, he had 8.5 sacks in 2020, and then last year he only had 1.5 sacks. But I know I'll let you jump into the reasoning behind that because I know you said you watched some film on him when he played with the Seahawks.
Yeah, so when the 49ers announced the signing, I saw a lot of Seahawks fans kind of saying the same thing as Ray McCloud, like, "Oh, good, we cut him. He didn't do anything." So I jumped in, watched some tape, watched a couple games, and I immediately noticed that he was playing D tackle for them. And he played edge for us the year prior. And I will say, while watching some tape, he was pretty decent at stuffing the run at D tackle for the Seahawks. But obviously, as an undersized guy, he's not going to be able to rush the passer well from the D tackle slot. So he was kind of being used in the wrong way, kind of like how we put Solomon Thomas on the outside when he was an interior player. Same with Eric Armstead, but in the reverse order. Carrie Heider needs to play edge, and they were playing him at D tackle. So I believe he could get his numbers back up, especially because him and Kosaric, they just mesh well. So it'll be interesting to see where his reps come from because, like we said, we have a bunch of edge talent now. And I did see a lot of our fans saying they would still like us to draft an edge. And I personally don't think we need to. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I agree. The thing is, like, who's going to provide that other high end production besides Bosa? Ebukam? I wouldn't bet on it. D Ford? Probably not. Hyder? Maybe. But who knows? We don't know what we have with them this year. You know what I mean? So that's I could see why they would say that. Would I draft one personally with our first second round pick? No. But I could see why a fan would say that.
Don't sleep on Charles O'Menahue.
Yes,
He
I
was
agree.
great in limited action. And also, I can see saying that, but remember, our first pick is pick 62, right? Is there going to be a guy that's going to
61.
be 61? Is there going to be a guy there that's going to be able to beat out all these guys? Highly doubt it. But if a great edge rusher does fall, I would be fine taking one. I just don't think there's going to be a guy there that's going to be able to beat out all these guys. That's why
Let me
I
ask you
personally wouldn't
this.
do it.
If Boye Mafe is there sitting at 61, are you taking him?
Boye Mafe is a third down guy to me right now. He's a speed rusher. Um, it would depend how the team feels about D Ford. If they think D Ford's going to be able to actually play this year, no, because you don't need a speed rusher if D Ford's on the team. Um, Another guy that could be there is Arnold Ebiketie from Penn State. Those two guys, I would be like, maybe, yeah, I would take them, but I'm still on edge. If there's a player at a different position of need that we like, I would take them instead. So
Still on edge. That was a good pun. Um,
didn't mean to.
I I don't. I watched one game of Boye Mafe, and I wasn't impressed really with him. I don't really see what all these other people see in him, especially for the 49ers, because he played like a outside linebacker position to where he was dropping in coverage, and we don't have a need for that. I want a pure pass rusher, not a zone dropper, outside linebacker that can rush the passer every now and again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm not a huge fan of Boye Mafe. Um, this is what I was talking about real quick from David Lombardi. So this is Carrie Heider's percentage of snaps from an outside edge position. In 2020 with the 49ers, he played 95% of his snaps on the outside edge position, which got him 8.5 sacks. 2021, which was last year with the Seahawks, he played 28% of his snaps outside on the edge position, which only got him 1.5 sacks. So that shows you that he needs to play on the edge and not as a D tackle or anything like that. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
keep him on the edge, opposite of Bosa. Um, swap him in with Ebukam, D Ford, and let them get their money that way. Yep.
Have you watched any Arnold Ebiketie by chance?
Not yet. I haven't gotten around to him.
Get around to him when you can. Pretty good player on the edge. But anyways, we'll jump over to the two DBs that were re-signed this week. Dante Johnson and Darqueze Dennard. How do you feel?
Obviously, we talked about Dante Johnson earlier. That guy's career with the 49ers has been a roller coaster, ups and downs everywhere. He's a great depth signing, very versatile. He can play outside corner, nickel corner. He even played safety for us a little bit this year. Um, so I like it just for that versatility in it in itself. Like that's enough for me to be like, okay, that's a good signing. So I really like that one. And he played decent in those spot times that he had to come in. He played good enough not to stand out and allow some huge play or something like that, like Josh Norman. Josh Norman was getting burnt on punt return somehow. That's how bad that guy was. So Dante Johnson is an immediate upgrade over him.
I
And
agree.
Darqueze Dennard, I know Darqueze Dennard came in and played one game or so, and he did pretty
Week
well. So,
He played week
uh,
17 versus the Rams in the slot, and Dante Johnson played safety that week when I believe it was Tart that got hurt.
yeah,
So those two were playing in that critical game.
yeah. So I think it's a I think those are good signings, good depth signings. Having depth at corner and defensive back is huge in the NFL because you always have players that are dropping and hurt. So I think those two signings are good just as backups.
Yeah, and you got to remember, just because these people were signed doesn't mean they're going to make the team. So great signings for depth. They could fill in if they need to, and they're going to be able to come into camp and compete with some young guys that are brought in. So don't think these are like, oh, that's the only move they're going to make. No, these guys are being brought into camp to compete. So just be
What's
aware of
up
that.
to CJ Ruthless Sports? Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.
Alrighty.
Anybody got any questions about the roster? How do you feel the roster looks right now?
Yeah, what are
Do
your
you
guys'
think
thoughts? Let us know.
do you think that this is a playoff roster at the moment, or do you think they need to make some moves? Let us know in the
So
comments.
I have a question for you, Joseph, and the people watching as well. So if you guys want to jump on here and talk with us live, or you can just leave a comment down below. Do you think this current roster is better than the roster that we had last year? What are your thoughts?
CJ Ruthless Sports said it'll depend on the draft, and I agree. We need to see what the 49ers do in the draft, but as of right now, I think the roster last year was better. You're losing DJ Jones, who I considered last year a Pro Bowl talent. Also, you're losing Pro Bowl talent Laken Tomlinson at guard. And those are big holes to fill on both sides of the line. You're getting Kinlaw back. You don't know what you're getting in Kinlaw. Um, Hassan Ridgeway was just he was a backup. So how are you going to replace that talent at D tackle? And then as of right now, you have Aaron Banks maybe replacing Lakin. Aaron Banks can beat out Daniel Brunskill. So I hope they can replace what those guys did, but that's still up in the air. And then don't forget about Jaquiski Tart. We got Tavarius Moore coming off a huge injury, and we got Hufanga, who played okay, but he's not great in coverage. Those are huge, huge starting positions.
George
As well,
Odom, we talked about too. You remember last week that he played like terrible in coverage. Great
yeah.
special teams player, but didn't play well in coverage last year.
And then also you got your nickel spot. Kawan wasn't great, but the dude was still a playmaker. He picked off, who was it in the playoffs? Was it Dak?
Yeah, I think the Cowboys.
And then also he caused the turnover in the playoffs against the Rams. So he still was a playmaker, even though he got burned at times. Those are huge spots you got to have people step up into, or you need to draft someone that can play right away.
Here's a comment from CJ. He says, I don't think we are a playoff team yet. Hopefully, I'm wrong. I agree. And that's a comment I appreciate because that's what we're trying to do here is keep it real. We're not going to sell these fantasies like, oh, the Niners are going to the Super Bowl. Let's keep it realistic. Who knows what we're at right now? I think we're on the right progression towards getting to the playoffs with the signings that we have done, like at D tackle, trying to replace that DJ Jones. I think bringing in the Ridgeway was good. Re-signing Mo Hurst, and then having Kinlaw come back as well. I think that's a right step. Safety, I was a huge proponent of bringing back Jaquiski Tart from the start. So who knows? Safety, offensive line, those two are going to be a big gaps in my opinion that we're going to have to fill in the draft probably.
I agree. And
Um,
also, let's see, I am worried at this point. I feel like there's still a lot of need on the line. I agree. the line is a wild card right now. You got a lot of people you're expecting to step up, but are they going to? Mike McGlinchey, we haven't heard much about the injury. Like, is he ready to play? I don't know. I hope he is. But even when he was 100%, he wasn't the best. He wasn't a Trent Williams level tackle. And he's coming off a huge injury. And then that left guard spot, you want at least one side of your line to be great so you can kind of like play to the weakness of the other side. And they had that last year, and it was still an issue. So I'm a bit worried about it too. We got to see what they do in the draft. CJ said, if we want a versatile O lineman, check out Spencer Burford. And he interviewed him on his channel. So go look at that interview. But I haven't looked into him at all yet, so we'll have to look into him. Safety, at this point, I would love to bring back Tart. I feel like at this point you might be able to get him cheap because the market's starting to dry up. I'd bring him back on a year deal, maybe 2-year deal. But there are great safeties in the draft. It's a pretty deep safety class, in my opinion. If they do want to go that way, I think you could find a starter in the draft.
Here's speaking of Jaquaski Tart, David Lombardi tweeted, if the 49ers do want to bring back Tart, the 4-year qualifying player offer might work. Tart qualifies since he's been with San Francisco for at least 4 years. Loophole allows for the vet minimum cap hit of $1.035 million, but a salary up to $1.35 more than that. So in theory, the 49ers could pay Jaquaski Tart up to $2.385 million for 2022, but incur a salary cap charge of only $1.035 with this benefit. It's a part of the new CBA that the Niners used on Ronald Blair a couple years ago.
I would love
So
that.
I would be down for that. Bring people in to come and compete. Competition brings out the best in players, like I've been saying. So let him bring in and see what he can bring back. Because like I said, he was a great safety for us. I know a lot of Niner fans are going to hate on him because of the drop pick in that game. But besides that, he's played really well for the 49ers these past few years since they've drafted him, really. He's a great box safety, and he's pretty rangy where he can play over top in like a one high if he needs to.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only issue with that is if he's trying to get paid this year, because this is probably his last opportunity to get a decent contract. Is he going to come in on that deal like he did last year, that cheap 1-year deal? I don't know. But maybe he has to. Maybe the market isn't there for him. So we'll see. Let's see. We got this comment. We still have a couple spots we need to fill. It will be a year that will take some luck, and we're going to go through some ups and downs with Trey being young, but hopefully by midseason he's rolling. I agree. We play a gauntlet this year, man. We play
Of course,
Mahomes.
this year we play the AFC West when they
Yeah.
get in that arms race of just talent.
We play the AFC West. We play Russell in Denver. We play Mahomes. We play the Raiders. We play Justin Herbert. And then we also play the Rams twice still. Cardinals twice still. I think we play Tampa. Tom Brady's back. So, Trey, if he wasn't ready, he's going to be ready by the end of this next season because he's playing all the premier talent in the NFL.
Yeah. Let's yeah, and I don't want to act like everything's going to be greener on the other side with Trey Lance because like he said, there is going to be struggles. He didn't play at all last year, besides a couple games. I think they said like a total of 8 or 10 quarters of NFL like live action. So Trey is going to struggle. In an interview that he did earlier this offseason, he even said it too. He's like, yeah, I'm going to struggle a little bit. We're going to have our ups and downs, but we'll get through it. So I think just stick with it. It might look rough. A good example of that could be that Texans game. That first half, Trey looked out of it. Couldn't make throws, threw that pick, just looked rough. Then that second half, he came in, and it was just a whole different level. So I think that's how we can expect the progression of him throughout this year to be, as long as he's progressing little by little each week, I think that's something to look forward to.
And I agree. And it's kind of like those practice clips we saw once he loosened up, once he allowed his natural talent to start showing, you started to see it pop off on the screen. And I think, the first couple weeks he's going to be tense and tight. As you get going, we said you're playing the best talent in the NFL this year. Get through it, start loosening up and start letting loose, and then you're going to start seeing him take off. CJ said versatility is key to Shanahan offensive line scheme. Why you think Brunskill is still around? And I agree. Shanahan loves offensive linemen that can move. He usually doesn't like those big guys that are just gonna, beat up a guy one-on-one. He likes the smaller, more versatile guys that can move in space, which is why the Brunskill the Aaron Banks draft pick was a little interesting because he's more of that like in the phone booth one-on-one guy. So yeah, versatility is key. There are a bunch of versatile O linemen in this draft class, which is good.
I mean, even on the roster too, because like you said, Brunskill played guard, but you remember when he came in at first, when like everybody started to notice him, he was playing tackle.
Yep.
Same with McKivitz. I think McKivitz came in as like a guard, and then like when he
That
started
one
at
game.
that one game at tackle, everybody was like, "Why are we playing this guard at tackle?" But versatility is key. Like for the Niners, they need to be able to move and play different spots because that is what really matters.
Very true. And it'll be interesting. I think in this draft, when the 49ers draft O linemen, let's see the type of players they go for. Because they went with Banks, that box guy, last year. Let's say they come into this draft and say they look at that big guy from Minnesota that I like, 6'9", like 370, Daniel Fillell. And if they do something like that, then maybe Kyle's transitioning, saying, hey, I got this big athletic QB. I want this huge O-line in front of him,
You know who would have been a great signing for that?
Trent Brown.
Trent Brown, former 49er.
Will Hernandez, too, would have been a
Yeah,
signing
he
if
got
you're
signed
going
as
that route.
well.
I don't think he got signed. He's visiting the Cardinals, I believe.
Oh, did he? I'm pretty sure they signed him.
Did they?
Yeah. CJ right here says they like Marquise Hayes from Oklahoma. I was looking at him too. I think he's one of those bigger O linemen, if I'm not mistaken. One of those like phone booth guys. So, like you said, we'll see with what Shanahan does in this draft where we're going to be transitioning to. If we're going to try to go that more dominant, like just bully people real big like that, or if we're going to try to keep it athletic like the Mosquito Squad, as we were previously known.
And based on how they filled out the roster so far, in my opinion, they left holes that they can fill in the draft. It's going to be O-line. They're going to bring in maybe a receiver, maybe a backup tight end, and then a safety and nickel. So those are the 5 needs I see based on how they filled out the roster to this point.
Down in the comments, let us know what you guys think is the biggest hole on the 49ers roster right now. Whether it's guard, nickel, safety, D-line, let us know. Do you want to touch on anything else, or do you want to jump into a little mock draft real quick?
Go ahead and start pulling up the mock draft, and I'll speak on the pro days, some of the pro days that the 49ers have attended so far. Give me 1 second so I could pull these up. So I was just skimming through Twitter, seeing where the 49ers have been. 49ers were in attendance at Notre Dame's pro day. Most people will know Kyle Hamilton, the safety. He's going like top 3, so don't get too excited about that one. Georgia Southern pro day, 49ers were attending. Weber State pro day. Penn State pro day had Adam Peters and John Lynch there, which is an interesting one because Penn State has a lot of players, a lot of interesting good players that are going to be available around the 49ers pick.
Such as, like you said, Ebiketie, right? Who else?
Yeah, Arnold Ebiketie.
Jahan Dotson, right? The receiver.
Jahan Dotson, receiver. Jaquan Brisker, he's probably a first-round safety. We'll see if he falls a bit, or, you could always trade up. They also got an O lineman that's supposed to go within the first 3 rounds. I think Rasheed Walker is his name, maybe. So that's an interesting one. You had him at the BYU Pro Day. They got a center in the draft. Haven't heard much about him. They also got the running back Tyler Algieri, who's a big bruiser guy. Memphis Pro Day, your guy Dylan Parham, the guard. Mizzou Pro Day, bunch of players were there. None that ring any bells to me right off the top of my head besides the running back Tyler Batty. Like I said, Notre Dame, you had a bunch of players. Kevin Austin Jr., wide receiver. Jack Cohn, QB. Myron Tagovailoa, Tua's cousin.
Is that his cousin or is that his brother? From Maryland, did you say?
Yeah, I think it's his. No, it's from Notre Dame. I think it's his cousin. He's a D lineman. Fresno State Pro Day. North Dakota State Pro Day. So they went back. You got a bunch of NFL players there. And actually, I'm pretty sure all 32 NFL teams were at North Dakota State's Pro Day. So
Christian Watson.
Everyone wants Christian Watson. Yep.
Watson. Yeah.
I personally think he's going to be gone at our pick. But you also have some O linemen there that were good players. Cincinnati Pro Day. I know some 49er fans like Myjai Sanders, the D end. You also had Kobe Bryant, the corner, and Brian Cook, who CJ mentioned in the comments. So they were there. Nebraska Pro Day. I know you like Cam Jurgens, a center. If you want to speak on him a little bit.
Yeah, Cam Jurgens, super athletic guy. A video came out recently of him at his pro day, and they had him running through this insane drill. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I don't really understand what the point of it was, but it does go to show like how athletic he actually is. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Also, the Utah Pro Day. An interesting player there is Britton Covey. He's a wide receiver. He's a kind of a slot guy, kind of like Trent Taylor was for us, a small guy. Great returner. I know we signed Ray McLeod, but just a guy I thought I'd mention. SMU Pro Day. They have a couple interesting wide receivers on that team. Ohio State Pro Day. Of course, you got the great receivers there. You got DN Tyreek Smith, interesting prospect. You got some good O linemen also from there. San Diego State Pro Day. Go ahead and play that clip.
So here's Cam Jurgens at his pro day running this insane drill.
Good speed on the guy.
Yeah, I mean, his hips
Quick
look
feet.
fluid.
Quick
Yeah,
feet.
jumping.
Explosive power
Like
right there.
it looks good. It's a weird drill. I've never seen it before, but he does look athletic. I like that. That's somebody I'm keeping my eye on him for the draft for sure.
And there are a bunch more pro days, but I'm just going through a couple. Virginia, they got the huge tight end that we like, Jelani Woods, but they were at almost every pro day. So I'm not going to go through anymore. I have them all on here, but just know 49ers have been everywhere. So no hints. The 49ers also, they love to go to every pro day. They love to interview players, and then they love to draft players they never spoke to, kind of as a smokescreen. So just be
I
aware
think
of
Mike
that.
McGlinchey was one of those guys. I think,
Yep.
like he said, like the Niners never talked to me before the actual draft or something like that.
And
So
they do that with a lot of players. So be aware. You may see your favorite player get talked to by the 49ers. Could possibly be a smokescreen. They ain't drafting them. So just be aware.
all right, let's jump into this mock draft. So this one we're gonna do a PFF mock draft. Switch it up. I know last one we did a PFN, I think.
Also, in the comments, drop down who your draft crush is if you have one. I just want to see who you guys like in this draft.
All right, so here we are at pick 61. We got Leo Chanel, Brian Asamoah, Kingsley, and a I don't even know how to say that dude's name.
Enagbare. Javon Kinlaw was speaking
Enagbare.
on him on that one guy's pod the other day.
Oh, okay. Drake Jackson, edge from USC, could be a upside move. Kirby Joseph, safety from Illinois. He's a good safety. I really like him a lot. Dylan Parham, one of my guys right there. Kellen Deach, Alec Pierce.
As you can see,
Oops.
Kellen Deesh has been flying up boards. Donovan West
Yep.
as well.
Yep. John Mechie, Khalil Shakur, Cole Strange, Calvin Austin we talked about. So there's Marcus Jones, your guy.
Hey, Nick
There's a lot
Cross
of
is a
good.
great safety as well. I did watch some tape on this past week.
All right. So who are you looking at right here? Give me two. Give me your
So
top two.
I haven't watched a lot of Enagbare, but from what I have seen so far, I'm not as high on him as a lot of people. Same with Drake Jackson. A lot of his pressure and stuff seemed to not come like one-on-one with the tackles. It came when someone was like moving up the pocket or like rolling out, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cam Thomas seems little interesting, but personally right here I like your guy Kirby Joseph. I haven't watched any Parham, so I don't know much about him. But this one you're leading on. So
Uh, this one's torn because Kirby Joseph, I think, can be a really good safety. He can play well in the box, and he can play pretty good over top if he had to. He's pretty rangy. Still a little raw. Dylan Parham, I think, just fits the 49ers what we look for in players perfectly. Like he can plug in and take that guard spot right away.
you think he's an instant starter?
Instant starter.
All
Instant
right.
starter.
I say Parham then if he
Yeah.
fits how you say.
I think Parham as well. I think that'd be good. And then you can have Brunskill and Banks kind of battle it out for that other guard spot. So here we are at pick 93. Your guy Marcus Jones went the pick before. The
Dang.
Packers. Tariq Woolen, that was that super fast corner at the draft.
I heard
Went a
that
few picks
Sean
before
Ryan
that.
guy's a pretty good guard as well.
Sean from
From
UCLA. Oh, I
yeah.
saw a post about him as well. Nick Cross, that safety from Maryland you were talking
Dang.
about, went a few picks before as well. Calvin Austin at pick 79. Jeez.
What
We got Greg
what
Dulcich
what website is this
for
one
New
on?
Jersey. This is PFF.
I like their picks, pretty realistic.
Yeah. So here we got Kellen Deach. We got Donovan West, Khalil Shakur, Zach Tom, Luke Fortner.
Max
All
Mitchell's a good
solid
tackle as
guys.
well.
Yeah, Brian Cook from Cincinnati. James Cook. Zion McCollum. I heard something about him. I'm not sure exactly what. I think he was pretty fast and tall. Like his measurables were good.
I think he was at the
Here's
Senior Bowl.
yeah. Here's Marquise Hayes that CG was talking about earlier. But we already took a guard, so my J Sanders he fell hard. You remember earlier
Yeah.
in the offseason he was going like early second round.
Here,
So who are you looking at here?
go up towards the top. I'm probably looking maybe Brian Cook. I haven't watched any of him though. I know a lot of people are high on Khalil Shakur, but I feel like he brings kind of what Ayuk brings to the team. So I don't know if you want to double up on that.
Here's some stats on him. 6 foot 190. So he played 320 slot snaps last year. Over 1,000 yards receiving, which is pretty good.
He's a good player. Like I said, I feel like he brings kind of what we have on the team already.
Yeah. Slot corner separating. He needs to improve on separating downfield. I think that's what we need in a receiver if we're going to take one, as a separator. So yeah, I would probably pass. Haven't watched any of that. Kellen Deach, yep, super athletic tackle, but we already took an alignment. I
I'm gonna be
think,
honest. I would probably take a tackle here. If I'm being honest, best tackle. There's a lot of great tackles available. I might just double down on O-line here. We've said it's our big weakness. Bring in some dudes that are going to compete and take some spots, because
yep.
the moment they say, "Hey, McGlinchey not ready to go," you're in trouble again.
So here are some stats to look at. His zone grade, so that's what the 49ers run, I believe, is a zone-like run scheme, was a 90.2, which is great. Pass block was 89.4, run block 84.3. Only gave up 3 sacks in the last 2 years, which is super good. Only 6 hurries, no hits. See where he wins with his feet, athletic, like we said. What's his role right now? He can be a swing tackle, which that would be fine for right now. And then he has the frame and athleticism. So this is where he needs to improve.
So he's like
He needs
that
to play
Shanahan
strength.
guy, versatile,
Exactly.
smaller dude.
Yeah. See his strength out of 1 out of 10. Explosiveness 7 out of 10. Balance 9 out of 10. So that flexibility, that means he can move in space. He can get out there and move. Moves like an athlete in space, leading a screen. And then, like, this is it. He's a little bit older, 6-year senior. So are
So
you saying
we got some people on who would you take here? I'm leaning tackle, Kellen Deesh, or your guy Zach Tom, whoever, or even Max Mitchell. I like Max Mitchell too at tackle, but I think Kellen Deesh is a good pick if you do.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'd be going, like we said, I haven't seen much of Brian Cook from Cincinnati. 6'1", 210. Here are some stats. 88.8 coverage grade, that's pretty good. 82.1 run defense grade, pretty good. Where did he play mainly? So he played mainly in the box, which is what the Niners did, and he played deep as well. That's where most of his snaps came from. Some in the slot. So that's encouraging. 25 run stops, which is good. 51.9 passer rating, pretty good. 2 picks, 7. This guy looks pretty good on the stats end of it. I haven't watched much of him. I like to see how he played in the college football playoff. So who are you thinking?
I say take the tackle. You know what I mean?
You think Deej?
Our dad agrees. He thinks take a tackle as well here. You know, if you go with the 2 O linemen, your first 2 picks, insulate that O line, man. You got the young QB. You know,
Yeah.
give him everything he can to succeed. And you know, you got a lot of pieces on defense. You got 3 people that are going to compete for that safety spot. Insulate that O line. And
Here
you know,
we are back up.
He might still be here at this pick too. So let's see.
Back up at 105. This is one of the compensatory picks that we got. Let's look at some of the guys that went before. James Cook, Darion Kendrick, corner from Georgia, who's pretty good.
Ooh,
Luke Fortner, that's a good safe.
Player.
Good
He's a
corner,
good player.
Yeah. I like him a lot. Brian Cook,
Protect
there he
Trey.
is. He went up.
Protect Trey. I agree. He needs to be protected.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's look who we got here. So we have Donovan West, the center, but we took 2 alignment already. That corner from Sam Houston State.
I believe the 49ers met with that edge guy, D'Angelo Malone. I haven't watched any of him, though.
Let's take a look at his stats real quick. So he had 7 sacks. He had 14 sacks in 2019.
Wow.
Jeez. 8 hits, 23 hurries. That's pretty good. That is pretty good.
See the
He
teams
played
he
mainly
played.
outside of tackle.
He had a good game, a pretty good
Army,
game against Michigan
Indiana.
State.
Yeah, Michigan State. Old Dominion. I think this is the 49ers too, college team that's named the 49ers. Charlotte 49ers. Rice. So he didn't really play. Obviously,
Snaps. He
great
played
talent.
outside tackle, so
Yeah.
he's an edge, true edge.
Yep. 78.8 pass rush, 75.3 run defense. True pass set pass rush grade, 78.9. So that's all right. 14.2 pass rush win rate. Not bad. Statistically pretty good. Zion McCollum, another corner. 6'4". So he'd be an outside corner. I don't even think we should look at him. Who are you thinking right here? Myjai Sanders.
Myjai still there? Wow. I kind of like Myjai. I mean, at this point in the draft, I think he's decent pick. We got any good safeties available still?
Only 5 sacks last year. That's Project Edge. I mean, we could take on a Project Edge, especially at this round with, like we said, the people that we have already in place.
Yeah, we could.
There's somebody to keep your eye on. Some good edge spots. You're saying safeties?
Yeah, are there any good safeties available?
Let's see. Leon O'Neal.
Dang, my guy Leon is low by PFF standards.
JT Woods. Verone McKinley.
Dang, Verone's low by their standards too.
Smoke Monday. Just a cool name. I just like saying that dude's name.
I really like Verone McKinley and Leon O'Neal. But
I'll let you take up this one because I haven't watched too much of these guys.
We can take one of those edges here if you feel like they're good value. Since maybe those guys are thought of lower than I think of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think one of those edge guys is good, we could go edge here.
I haven't watched much of either of them. I've just heard a little bit. Who do you want to go with? MyJ or D'Angelo?
I say MyJ. He played a pretty high level talent.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll go ahead and go
All right.
MyJ here then. 49ers did meet with MyJ at the Senior Bowl as well, for anyone wondering. Ooh,
Here
Amir
we are up
Barno went
again
the
at 134.
Amir Barno went the pick before. I really like him, an edge player.
So Zach Tom still up there, athletic tackle. We already got our tackle. Cordell Flott, corner. Jerome Ford, running back. Chris Paul.
Chris Paul's a guy I like, a good tackle.
Yeah, he's athletic. Noah Ellis. That's a
Good
guy
D
you were saying that you
lineman.
liked. Pierre Strong, super fast running back. Jelani Woods.
Cam
Cam
Jurgens.
Jurgens.
Jelani Woods too.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're going safety here though. Pull up my safeties again.
All right. Let's take a look at the safeties.
Honestly, I would even consider Cam Jurgen here, man.
So you still got Leon O'Neal still up there. Verone McKinley still up there.
Pull up some stats on Leon and on Verone, because those two dudes, Verone had a lot of interceptions this past year, so he might be a guy that would interest us.
Looked like he struggled against LSU, Ole Miss, Auburn. Not looking too well.
He's a
59.6
box.
run defense. That's not very good.
He's more of a box guy. But yeah, that run defense graded low.
So he played a lot deep. He played a lot more. He played almost more than double the snaps deep than he did in the box. 14 missed tackles.
Sheesh.
Yeah.
Pull up my guy Verone.
Yeah, let's see Verone. Teams will have to accept some lows to get the highs that McKinley can provide in coverage. Let's see. So it looks like he struggled a little bit too. Oklahoma, Utah, Washington State, Colorado, Stanford. 17 missed tackles. He played a lot of snaps deep too. Not
Yeah,
many in the box.
He's a pass coverage guy. He gets a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, 6 picks right here. 2 touchdowns allowed.
He picked off Stroud from Ohio State, and he had 2 PBUs against Ohio State.
Okay. What about this JT Woods?
I think
he ended up being pretty fast. 14 missed tackles. So he played
a lot of interceptions
a lot
too.
Of slot, a lot of box, a lot of deep. 6 picks, yeah. Run defense 47. It's not good. Who are you looking? Who are you thinking right here?
Click on that Marquise Bell. I've heard good things from him too. He's from a small school though.
Good size. 13 missed tackles, 86 tackles.
Ooh,
So
don't
he's a
look too
box
good to
safety.
me. Yeah.
1 pick.
Hey, Gabriel,
His passer
finally able
rating's
to
not good
catch
at
all
all.
live.
Run
All right,
stops.
I say let's skip tackle this, or I mean safety this round. It seems like these guys are more developmental than what we need. Go give me some corners. Let's see some corners here.
Corners.
You know, we need that slot corner spot filled in.
All right. So we looked at this dude. He was 6'4". That's not really slot corner. Cordell Flott, 6'1", 165. Jesus, that dude's light.
Hey, you said Jelani Woods or one of our tight ends was available, right?
Yeah, but think Jelani Woods.
Hey, let's send it. Let's send it on our tight end, man. These DBs looking a little rough right here. This guy looked pretty good though in coverage, if I'm being honest.
This guy looks pretty good. 5 forced incompletions.
Oh no, he
84.8
dropped an
coverage.
interception.
Yeah, not bad. This guy looks pretty good. And he played mostly in the slot too. He played 357 in the slot. So
Let me write this guy down so I could watch some film on him after. Cordell Flott. Anybody heard of him in the comments? Who we got at tight end? Let's see our tight end. Oh, Alontae Taylor. I really like Alontae Taylor, the corner.
down here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you said tight end. Yep, Jelani Woods.
Hey.
I like Chigozium Okonkwo. He's my draft crush because I was sending some stuff over to Joe, and he's pretty much a clone of Delaney Walker from speed, size, the way he graded out with his test, like the 40, broad jump, everything is like a Delaney Walker clone. I think he would fit the 49ers system well. He can move in space. Like, he's legit.
Yeah, that's the thing with Jelani Woods is he's just huge. He's 6'7",
Yeah.
265. He ain't that big like space mover,
Yeah,
type
8
of guy.
touchdowns.
Yeah, he's huge. He's your red zone threat. Look at his contested catch rate. Yeah. But if you want Chig, go ahead and take him.
Chig.
I can't say his name.
He had 5 drops. I know that was the one thing that they said he needs to work on is his hands.
Yards after catch kind of low.
We're right here. 5.
You know who's another good player at tight end is Derek Deese from
I was gonna
San
say,
Jose
didn't you like
State.
Derek Deese?
I like him a lot too. He's a good player.
His yards after catch is even less than Chig.
Look at his deep catches, deep yards though.
Yeah,
The dude's a nice.
Yeah.
He's nice down the field.
Who we taking?
Take your guy Chig.
Chig.
All right.
I think he'd be a good tight end behind Kittle.
Comment from Gabriel. Knowing all the losses this offseason, what's your guys' take on number one need to fill in the draft, giving minimal moves in offseason due to cap space? So we spoke on this a little earlier. We believe O-line. We got to hit O-line hard because a lot of losses on the O-line. So that's where we actually on this draft, since you joined a little late, our first 2 picks were O-line actually. All right, who we got here? Who is this?
This is Pierre Strong, the running back that ran super fast.
He's a home run hitter. I was watching some highlights of him, not tape, but he hits a lot of home runs.
Has pretty good receptions, 22 receptions on 34 targets for 150 yards, 7.1 yards per attempt. That's pretty good. And he ran super fast. This could be our third down back right here.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Anybody else? Any of these other players ring a bell to you? There's that Marquise Bell safety.
I know people like Kevin Austin Jr., the receiver.
Yeah.
Maybe
Tyler we should take a swing on safety.
Yeah, let's take a look. Tyquan Thornton. Tyquan Thornton's that speedy guy. Hey, I see my guy. My guy.
Just avoid him. Matt Ariza.
Yeah, let's swing on a safety. Let's try to take a safety here. That JT Woods seemed pretty decent, right? Should we swing on him?
Let's see. Who's the Sterling Weatherford and why is he so high? Play deep. So he's more of a deep safety, it looks like.
Yeah, let's go with that JT Woods maybe. Looks like our other guys got swooped up before us here.
Yep,
yeah, all our guys got swooped up.
Yep, you want to do JT?
Yeah, let's send it on JT Woods.
Here we are again. Pierre Strong still up there. Devontae Pierce, Nephi Sewell, Derek Deese, Son Haskins, good running back. Bo Melton, Tyquan Thornton. I would probably say one of these two guys.
I say I like Tyquan Thornton, but for his size. How big is Bo Melton?
He's a smaller guy, but he's a burner, and he pretty versatile. They would use him on like end arounds and stuff.
I personally say Tyquan Thornton because he has that 4.2 speed.
Right.
He's big. He's going to be able to get deep for you. And you know that's what we need. Hey, you know what? Send it. Send it.
So you're
He's gonna.
saying take Matt Ariza.
Hey, I've been preaching it all off season. Matt Ariza is probably one of the biggest game changers in this draft. And I am not playing with you. That dude is going to change games.
He is a good punter.
One of my favorite running backs in the class is sitting here still right here. Max Borge from Washington State. He's like a McCaffrey clone. He's a pass catcher out of the backfield. Good speed on him. He scores a lot of touchdowns. He has good vision. He's a pretty good back. Look at his carries of 15 plus yards.
15, yeah, that's pretty good. I haven't looked into too many running backs. Is this who you want to go on as Borge?
What do we still need? Slot.
You've
maybe?
gotten our, yeah. Or did we didn't we end up taking a corner or no?
I don't think we did.
All right, we're gonna look at some corners. Jack Jones, I've heard some stuff about him.
49ers met with him, actually, Jack Jones. I don't know much about him, though.
Vincent Gray, I've heard a little bit about. You want to go on Jack Jones? 5'10", seems like a slot size.
Slot guy.
Oh, he played none in the slot.
Wow.
Played 40, 577 out wide.
Pretty good grades. Kalam Barnes is that fast corner from BYU, but he's an outside guy, I think.
Here's a slot guy. Doesn't look too well, though.
Yeah, no.
Doesn't look good at all.
We could take Jack Jones, I guess, if you want.
Yeah, let's just swing on him.
And then we got Mr. Irrelevant here.
Yep.
Last pick of the
Who
draft.
are you thinking?
Who we got? Keep going. Let's see. This is just a swing at the dartboard, to be honest with you. Hey, look, there's Tagovailoa's cousin. Dicker
Connor
the kicker?
Hayward, I know, is this was a guy. Yeah, Dicker the kicker. Here's Spencer Burford that CG was talking about earlier. Also, Connor Hayward was a tight end that a lot of people are saying that he can transition over to a fullback and be a decent fullback if we don't want to pay use check for forever.
Yeah,
I think we can. Go ahead.
You're just taking a shot on somebody.
Blaise
I'm fine with whoever. My draft was complete the moment we got my guy Matt Ariza. So
I think you know what? We'll switch it up. We're gonna take EJ Perry, quarterback.
Interesting. I heard good things about him. I haven't watched any of them, but I heard good things.
That backup to Trey, I know we have old boy back there. But so here's our grade, looking rough.
Sheesh.
I think it's a really good draft though, because you fit all these needs. You know, you have an instant start guard, you have a tackle that can compete and at least play if McGlinchey can't come back, or even take McGlinchey's job possibly. You have a project edge who can provide some speed off the edge right there.
They
They're down
hated
on
your
my
tight
boy.
end pickup.
They're down on my boy Chig. But I think he's an extremely good tight end. I think he'd fit well with the 49ers. JT Woods, fill that safety spot, bring him some more competition. Taekwon Thornton, the speedster.
I think
For
Tyquan
the
Thornton would get a
receiver.
lot of play with us.
Yeah. Matt Ariza, they hate him, a C-.
Hey, man, that dude is instantly top 3 punter in the NFL. I don't care.
And then Jack Jones, B+, and EJ Perry. So overall, I think it's a great draft. If we could get this, I'd be super happy about that.
Our drafts are vastly different every week.
Yep. I agree. Yep.
All right.
All
That's
right.
all we have for the show today. Anybody have any questions, or you want to talk about some football? Maybe you have a different team that you're a fan of. You know, they made a move you want to talk about. We got, let's say 10 more minutes on the live today. Anybody want to talk about anything? Anyone want to come on live? You know, talk with us a little bit? Any football?
I would be curious to hear from Gabe Montoya 10, I believe. Because I think I heard that his team was the Saints. So I'd be curious to see his opinion on Jimmy G, if he would have rather had Jimmy G over Jameis back, or that scenario.
Yeah, Gabe, you want to come on live with us here? You want to talk a little bit?
Shoot you the link. Any other Niner fans want to come on and chat a little bit?
I'll post a link in the chat if anyone wants to come on. That's the link. Follow it and we'll bring you on live if anybody wants to come on. Gabriel's in the car right now.
7 to 8 minutes before we'll log off.
So how you feel? Any NFL things that went on this week that you thought were interesting?
Not really. I know everybody's still talking about Deshaun Watson and his whole case that's going on, and how he talked about certain things, and I thought it was a little weird, but I don't think there's too much going on. I know one thing to keep your eye on that I hope does not happen. Bobby Wagner he visited with the Rams. So that would suck.
Yeah.
That would suck. But he also visited with the Ravens as well. So
another thing, Arden Key, that man's been on a tour. That man's been visiting almost. I think he's at like 6 teams now. He's visited. So Arden Key's probably going to get a nice little paycheck. You know, we picked up Carrie Heider in place of him, but I'm happy for the guy. You know, he finally had a good season in the NFL. He deserves to get paid.
Yep. I agree.
So that was a good one. Thanks to everybody that tuned
already
in.
Back out there. Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah, in the Bahamas, training.
Working out, yep.
Yep, that'd be a nice place to work out, I'd say.
Yeah.
Thanks to everybody that tuned in. We had, I think, 8 people on at one point live. You know, we've been struggling, getting the subscribers up. It's tough. There are a lot of people that are posting 49er content now. And, every day it seems like there's more people starting to post. So we appreciate you guys that come onto our channel and watch and tune in.
And if you guys follow any podcasts out there, let us know if you'd want us to do a collab with them, some smaller Niner podcasts, or even some other teams podcasts we'd like to talk to, do a little crossover.
Nobody wants to come on today, huh? No need to be shy. I know a lot of people don't like to watch live streams or, hop on and talk. I don't even like to sometimes. Other people are having lives and they ask people to talk, but we're just talking some football, relaxing.
You want to hear Cora's opinion?
I want to hear Cora's opinion. All right, Bubba's going to get Cora on the lobby.
This will probably be one of the last podcasts in my current setting because we're going to be moving houses. So
I just yelled at the neighbors.
We're on live.
I'm gonna shush. I did though.
There's baby Cora.
What are your thoughts on the 49ers?
One of the youngest 49er fans on the planet.
Yep. Of course, always rocking the.
She's gonna rip it off if I do. What's wrong with it?
Rose said she wants the tea.
Oh, I can give you the tea. I can give you the tea. There's a lot of tea.
See, youngest 49er fan right there.
Young 49er right there. Like and subscribe for baby Cora.
Yep. Drop a like, a comment, and like you said, a subscription for baby Cora. See, already wanted to talk to the mic and everything. Alrighty.
Love your opinions, Cora.
You ready to close it up?
Yep. Nobody wanted to tune in, huh? All right. Well, thanks for everybody that tuned in and watched. Like I said, there's a lot of people putting out 49er content and more by the day, so we appreciate you guys. Share the video if you have any 49er friends. We feel like we put out some good opinions. Let us know what you guys think. And, this next week might be a slow week. Hopefully we get some good news so that we could share with you guys next Sunday. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. That's it from us from the Bullyball podcast.
Drop a like, drop a comment.
Remarks?
Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe. Like you said, share it. We're trying to push out good quality content for you guys. Like we've said before, just stick with the Niners, They'll do the right thing and get it done. That's it for me.
That's it. Bubba's a little disheartened. Only 18 subscribers and our videos ain't getting enough views. So share this so he doesn't leave me on this channel alone. We appreciate you guys. Peace.
All right. Peace.